Now it is your turn. The next 3 labs let you build both representations yourself, and then measure their memory cost with your own hands. Lab 1. Build an undirected graph on 5 vertices using only an adjacency matrix. Try to write it yourself first, and pause the video whenever you need more time. You will implement 4 functions. First, create of n allocate an n by n block of ints, and set every cell to 0. Second, at edge of u and v, this is where the earlier bug bites. Set both m at row u, column v, and m at row v, column u. Third, has edge of u and v, that is just one lookup in the grid. Fourth, print. Show the full grid so you can read it by eye. Use these 5 edges, 0, 1, 0, 2, 1, 3, 2, 3, and 2, 4. Try predicting the printed grid by hand before you run it. Give it a go, and we will look at a solution next. Let's look at the solution. The full program lives in the code folder. As lab_matrix.c, we will focus on the 2 important functions. This is mgaddEdge. It takes the graph plus the 2 vertices u and v. The first line sets m at row u, column v to 1. In the flat array, that is g arrow m at index u times g arrow n plus v. The second line is the one people forget. It sets m at row v, column u to 1 as well, both cells for one undirected edge. The comment says it plainly, undirected, set both cells. An mgHasEdge is just one lookup. It returns g arrow m at index u times g arrow n plus v, that is big O of 1. The verified output confirms it. Has edge of 2, 4 returns 1, and has edge of 1, 4 returns 0. The full matrix printed clean under the sanitizers. Lab 2. Build the same graph as Lab 1, the same 5 vertices and the same edges, but this time as an adjacency list. Then trace it by hand. For each vertex, write down its chain in the exact order your adEdge would produce it. Give it a try before the solution. First, create of n make n head pointers, and set them all to null. Second, at edge of u and v just like the matrix. You touch both sides. Push a node onto edge at index u, and push a node onto edge at index v. Third, has edge of u and v scan, just one chain to check for the neighbor. Fourth, print. Show every vertex's chain. One thing to watch while you trace. Because adEdge pushes onto the front, each chain comes out in the reverse of the order you inserted. Predict that order by hand, and then check it against the solution. Let's look at the solution. The full program is lab_list.c. The adEdge function does the same work twice, once for each endpoint. First, we build the node for u's chain. We call malloc of sizeof in BR to get a fresh neighbor node, and call it A if malloc returns null. We stop, so we never use a bad pointer. Then we fill it in. We set an arrow to equal v, so this node remembers the neighbor v. We set an arrow next to the current head. G arrow edge at index u, then we make of a new head. That is a head insert. Now the mirror side, node B, we set B arrow to equal u, link B arrow next to G arrow edge at index v, and make B the new head of vertex V's chain. Both inputs now know about the edge. The verified output matches our prediction. Vertex 2's chain prints arrow 4, arrow 3, arrow 0. That is the reverse of the adEdge order, exactly because we insert at the front. Lab 3 is a challenge. For vertex counts n equal to 4, 8, 12, 16, and 20, compute the byte cost of each representation. You do not need to allocate anything, just calculate the numbers. Try setting up the 3 formulas yourself. The matrix cost is n times size of int. Every possible pair gets a cell. For a sparse list, use m equal to n edges. That is roughly 1 edge per vertex. For a dense list, use m equal to n times n minus 1 over 2 edges. That is a complete graph where every pair is connected. Print a table and look for the crossover. At what density does the list stop being the smaller representation? Work out the numbers, and we will check them next. Let's look at the solution. The full program is lab_compare.c. It is just a few lines of arithmetic that we run for each value of n. First, the matrix cost. Matrix bytes is n times size of int. This is the big O of n squared block we have been talking about. For the sparse case, m sparse is just n about 1 edge per vertex. For the dense case, m dense is n times n minus 1 over 2. That is a complete graph. The sparse list cost has 2 parts. N pointers for the head array, plus 2 times m sparse nodes, because each edge stores a node on both chains. The dense list cost has the same shape, just with m-dense edges instead. So as the graph fills up, the list keeps growing while the matrix stays fixed. Look at the numbers for n equal to 20. The matrix is 1600 bytes. The sparse list is only 800 bytes, so the list wins. But the dense list is over 6000 bytes, so the matrix wins. That is the crossover the earlier plot showed. One last learning check. In this chapter's own 6-vertex example, with 7 edges, the list comes to 272 bytes while the matrix is only 144. So can the list really be larger for the same small graph? Pause and think about what that says. The answer is yes. At 6 vertices, the pointer overhead per edge dominates, so the list can lose in raw bytes. But its growth rate, big O of n plus m, is still the better one for large sparse graphs. Big O compares growth, not one small case. That wraps up chapter 14. Nice work getting through graph representations, and I will see you in the next lesson.